Good morning and welcome to Today in Los Angeles. No, excuse me, Today in Lower
After you've done this show a million times, you botched the opening. I can't believe it.
Good morning. How you doing?
Morning. Your daddy just, okay. He
just being very facetious.
He just said, welcome to Today in Los Angeles.
And of course, we appreciate all the folks watching us across the area of 12 county area of Troy Cable, and also the...
Surely you had the patent and the copyright on Today in L.A., don't you?
No, I wish I did.
That's a good name.
But, of course, we do welcome you on our show, and I hope that you're doing well this morning as we go across the country throughout the world. Isn't that amazing that somebody could pick us up in Hong Kong this morning, you know, if he wanted to, you know?
You could probably pick us up on the moon. When they
all find out who Bill Rice Jr. is, they're going to start doing it. There's no question about it. Two Troy teams are getting ready to go to the World Series. The Troy Bells and the 8 and under boys are fresh off state championships, heading to play in the World Series. The Bells have won 6 of the last 7 state championships and looking to win their first World Series title. They will head to Alexandria, Louisiana, and play on Saturday against North Carolina. Opening ceremonies will begin on Friday. The Bells earned their way to another World Series with a win in the state tournament over in Florence and Troy earlier this month. So the Bells are coached by Scott Reeder, Reed Gilbreth, Matt Leverett, and here are the players real quickly for the. This is the team that's going to the World Series. Let's see, it includes Madison Allen, Dakota Berry, Emily Bryan, Mackenzie Kane, Kaylee Carter, Molly Garrett, Stella Gilbreth, Michaela Griffin, Sadie Leverett, Bella Malden, Heather Gladwell, and Alicia Sellers, and they're heading to the World Series.
Have won 6 of the last 7 state titles.
A great picture of the 8 and under boys as they head to the World Series. They swept the Montgomery Americans in the state tournament earlier this month. They will travel to Rushton, Louisiana to play in their big event, and we'll be watching that closely. And of course, the Troy American Legion, Carson Fan pitched a no-hitter in American Legion 70 10-0 victory over Millbrook in 5 innings on Sunday. Boy, that's something, isn't it?
Yeah, it happens every day. That's great.
And of course, the win for Post 70 vaulted them to the state championship. The championship was originally scheduled for Sunday afternoon, but inclement weather pushed the championship to a time and location to still be determined. So after winning their first game of the tournament on Friday, Post 70 finished the weekend with a 2-1 record. They lost their first game to Post 76, whoever they are, and then bounced back and beat Central Alabama and then beat Millbrook. And they're heading into the championship. Of course, the American Legion goes a long way. That's a big championship that's nationwide. And
that's some good baseball.
Of course, good pitcher Matt Snell, as he's greeted by Grayson Stewart after Snell hit a home run for the American Legion State tournament team. And of course, another.
Were they playing at Riddle Pace Field, or where were they playing?
They were playing in North Alabama somewhere. It doesn't really tell right now.
I rode by Riddle Pace Field the other day, and they were playing baseball.
Oh yeah, they have travel teams in there all the time. Okay. No question about it. And the 8 and under, and a great picture of the 8 and under team as they swept the Montgomery Americans. And as we mentioned, the 8 and under team will also be playing for the World Series. So. We've got the Bells and the 8 and under team trying to win a World Series championship.
That's outstanding. Good luck to them.
That's right, no question about it.
We're pulling for you.
I was going to go over here and see if we can catch some of this. But what a what a summer for baseball in Troy. They sent 14 teams to the to tournaments, and 12 of them actually made it to the state tournament.
Awesome. I mean,
And so right now, and then we're hoping that we're going to get our Bells and our
seems
8
that
and unders.
Seems our local program is good from all age levels, and boys and girls.
No question about it. Of course, a lot going on in our community, and well, one thing that met my attention this morning was, I've always felt like if you took an aspirin a day, it helped you. If you, thin your blood, to help you prevent a heart attack. What did you get from it today?
Yeah, there's a story that says that researchers are rethinking that recommendation that you take an aspirin a day, a low-dose aspirin to prevent heart attacks or strokes. Now they are saying that only people that have had a heart attack or have been diagnosed with heart disease should do that. So, in other words, most people who are taking an aspirin a day to hopefully prevent a heart attack or stroke should probably stop, according to this Harvard study.
Well, what would you do? Would it make you stop taking I take a baby aspirin every morning.
Well, they said that.
Or excuse me, one of the other.
So one of the bad effects is that it causes digestive bleeding. I know that happens to some people. The aspirin will make your internals bleed in your stomach. I don't know. All these scientific studies, it seems like for 15 years they say A, and then they come back and say B.
I think,
next thing you know, they're going to tell you can't drink red wine. Red wine's not good for you.
I think there's some studies that says that's true. I don't know. But you're right. I think there are more positive things for taking an aspirin than...
I take a baby aspirin every morning.
Yeah.
I have heard that if you think you're starting to have a heart attack or stroke, that you should immediately take an aspirin.
That's right. Put it underneath your tongue if you can, so it'll evaporate faster and work faster.
You had the Sun Belt Media Days yesterday, and they were interviewing Caleb Barker, Troy's quarterback. And Caleb Barker has now had 3 ACL injuries on the same knee.
Oh, boy.
So that is a huge risk, going into his senior season at Troy. Of course, he blew out his ACL last year. He blew it out his senior year in high school at Priceville and his 10th grade year at Priceville. And all I can say is Gunnar Watson and Jacob Freed, the kid out of Brantley, better be ready to go. They need to play a lot against Campbell and get some experience, because that really scares me as a Troy fan to know he's been injured that many times on the same knee.
I've had 2 on the same knee.
Oh, me. So you've been that route.
Yeah. And then after the second one, I said, I ain't getting on the football field ever again.
How crazy is this? They were telling a story. Jeffrey Dugas is Troy's team doctor, and he's in with Dr. Andrews, of course, up in Birmingham. So he's in there doing rehab, and one of the people that works for Jeffrey Dugas is the mom, Zach Thomas, the star quarterback at Appalachian State who played at Hewitt Trustful's mom, works for Dugas.
Oh, really?
And got to know Caleb in the offseason. Apparently Caleb's, got a relationship with Zach Thomas, the kid at Appalachian State that was the player of the year last year in the Sun Belt Conference.
Yeah.
So that's pretty amazing. Thomas's mom was working for Dugas, and Dugas has been Troy's team doctor for years. I wonder how Thomas didn't end up at Troy.
Yeah, I'll tell you another player that could end up at Troy is Appalachian State has another player with the last name Thomas that's a safety at Appalachian State that was a great quarterback at Montgomery Academy when I was living in Montgomery. Saw him play a couple of times. They converted him to a safety when he got to Appalachian State, and I think this is going to be his 3rd year starting at Appalachian State, but played at Montgomery Academy.
He was at Media Day, He actually spoke about that, being from Montgomery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that is something. I didn't realize that. And, of course, now it's...
You gotta really want to go to North Carolina, but, man, they do a great job recruiting there somehow, some way.
Well, don't you think it'd be a great place to hang out for 4 years? I mean, isn't it kind of up in the mountains? And
cool? The elevation is 3,600 feet, which is pretty unheard of on the eastern side of the country.
No question about it. Of course, we got a lot going on. Again, we want to congratulate the 8 and under boys playing for the in the World Series. They beat Costco, Mississippi on Saturday.
Isn't that a good-looking uniform?
Yeah, real good looking. Yeah, real good looking. And then they also beat Columbia, Tennessee, and knocked off Hueytown 5-2, sending them to the championship round. So, congratulations to that Troy team, and we'll be watching them closely. Let's mention those kids and who they are. They're coached by Scott Ross, Trey Holton, Henry Gutierrez, and Matt Brown. Players include Zane Brookins. Boy, that's a good name, isn't it? Brown. Coggins Brown. Cole Cleveland. That's another good one. Elliot Cochran. Jalen Copeland. Ethan Ernsberger. Elliot Gutierrez. You know, Gutierrez, his daddy played at Troy.
Troy, yeah, he's a real good player, Troy.
That's right. Noah Holton, Barrett Powell, Parker Precise, Judson Ross, and Brooks Wallace are the young men that.
Man, so they're loaded with some former talent with dads. That's Michael Precise's son as well.
Yeah, that's right. It sure is. And I was thinking that Michael Precise's son was. On the under 6 group, but he's the under 8 group.
Well, maybe he has a little brother.
Maybe so. And of course, we're just excited as we could be. This American Legion team, Mike, is playing real good. Both the Genwright boys play on that team, and of course they play for the bunch up in North Alabama, the junior college. What is it? It's so good.
They play at the one it's above Auburn, don't they, in Wadley?
Yeah, Wadley. Yeah, they play the Wadley, and
they play at Southern Union.
Southern Union, yeah, and they've had a great year, and of course they're having a good summer league year too. So we're.
Does one of those kids still pitch?
Yeah, one of them, the left-handed Reed pitches, and Reed's also a good outfielder too, and had a big double and a couple of RBIs and a 5-0 win on Sunday. So we're proud of
him.
him.
Baseball just never stops for these kids. I mean, if I was a coach at a Division I school or a junior college, I mean, especially if I was dealing with pitchers, I would not want these kids to throw their arms out until they started playing for me. I mean, it's amazing how much these kids play baseball now.
No question about it. I agree with you 100%.
Do these kids, like in Troy, I mean, have they been playing baseball all summer, these little kids, the 6- and 8-year-olds? And, I mean, do they get to go to the beach? They get to, do anything a normal kid gets to do?
No, I mean, they play ball all summer. You're exactly right.
I mean, but God knows, that's insane to me.
Yeah.
I used to miss games constantly during summer to go to the beach.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to give you some sad news today. A man that was not a native Trojan, but became a native Trojan, a strong Trojan, has died. You know, you bought onions from him for years and years. Otis Stone, for 18 years, volunteered 3 days a week with WTBF Radio. And shared in community functions all over for years and years, has died, and our prayers and our thoughts go out to his family. Ralph Black said that Otis was an asset to the station and the community. He was a faithful volunteer and looked forward to sharing good news with the community, and of course Otis did, like I said, did volunteer work for WTBF, but also was very active with the Troy Exchange Club, the American Legion, the Salvation Army, the First Baptist Church, and just one goes on and on and on about what he did in the community. And of course, he was known for selling onions.
Yeah.
You know, those Vidalia onions.
The Exchange Club sales.
And yeah, but no telling how many he sold, and just a great man, and I tell you,
It sounds like Jane Treadwell pegged it when she said Otis Stone was the personification of a community servant.
That's right, no question about it. He retired military, and was a dedicated, active member of the American Legion and in Troy, and just made just a lot of friends, and was also a Red Kettle sponsor, and very involved with that. Kim May said Otis was a 11-year member of the Salvation Army's advisory board, and of course we appreciate him as an individual and as a community leader.
Yep, exactly.
So Otis Stone is dead.
People like that is what makes the community worth living in.
And I don't see any anything that will give us idea of when he will be buried or where he will be, his services will be. But again, Troy lost a great man, Otis Stone, and we're very, very
appreciative
of who he was and what he did for our community. And you know, we weren't best friends, but I always saw him. I always had that twinkle in his eye, you know, and he was a good man. He's the guy that we used to call and said, I would say, what's the weather? He always gave it to me, even though we were going up against each other as far as, I don't know, but, you know, that radio station been going on a long time. But he was always very helpful, no question about it, you know, and of course, Ralph and them, I know, will miss him because he did so many things. Birthdays every week, and I kept up with that.
Well, you know, WTBS is just like Troy Cable. They've got a heart for the community and do a lot of local programming and give access to people that want to publicize their events, organizations that want to publicize their events. So Troy and Pike County are lucky to have Troy Cable and WTBF.
Yeah. I want to mention that the 6 and under, they fell to Sweetwater, Tennessee, 11-8 in Brookhaven, Mississippi, giving them a second-place finish in the World Series. So congratulations to our 6 and under team for a great effort. And we mentioned those kids earlier, and here their picture is what a picture it is of these young men and their coaches. And
they've got the uniforms, the white old-fashioned uniforms with the T on the breast, and then a white helmet with a big T.
Exactly right.
White hat.
Exactly. And I'll tell you something else. You look, and everybody always says, how does Troy do it? And how do they end up going to the World Series and competing at that kind of level every year in, year out? But one of the things would be those four coaches behind them. Excellent coaching. And, of course, a lot of these kids now, I hate to say it, will like Mike said, there's too much, but a lot of these kids will start playing travel ball. But here's a picture of them right here, and it's a good-looking picture of that group that has been was runner-up in the World Series in Mississippi. So congratulations to them. And now their 8-year-old buddies are trying to win a World Series. So we'll be keeping up with all that. So, of course, if you haven't bought your football tickets yet, you need to go ahead and do it. The first game is August 31st against the Camels of Campbell University. That's very easy, isn't it?
Well, interesting poll has come out. This is the worst place to live in the state of Alabama. Name that city.
Oh, I don't want.
Wait a minute.
Probably somewhere in the Black Belt.
Somewhere where
the worst county to live in is Wilcox County.
Wilcox?
Yeah.
Okay, but you know what? They've got a big old lake over there. They got a giant lake over in Wilcox County.
This is according to AL.com, and then the worst city to live in is Bessemer, Alabama.
Bessemer, Alabama. That's still, a lot of steel manufacturing going on, but over in Bessemer. That's been going on for years. But how do they come up with that? Who else do they have in there? Oh, we're not in there. Surely we're not.
Troy's not in there. It's a national poll on AL.com.
Where'd you say the best place was?
They said the best place to live is down in Fairhope.
Oh, in Fairhope. That is, yeah, the yuppie place. And I guarantee you, your dollar won't stretch very far down there. Is that right?
And then second is the Tiny Kingdom, Mountain Brook.
Oh, yeah. What'd you call it?
They call it the Tiny Kingdom.
Do they really? Well, it's where all the doctors live. Let's say that. How many doctors you reckon are live in Birmingham? 5,000.
One of them's from Troy, isn't he? John Paul Musselman.
Well, he's retired now. I need to get the word out to John Paul Musselman to come to our big dance.
I think Dr. Dale Crow.
Yeah.
He lives in Mountain Brook?
Yep. Oh, yeah. He lives
in Mountain Brook. He has the biggest house in Mountain Brook.
That's right. He lives on top of Mountain Brook.
It only took 5 years to build his house.
Well, I got to talk to Mr. Crow and get invited to his brother's house. Then he's got a beautiful house at Lake Martin. I know that.
Yeah.
If he still has it.
That's right. No question. Does he still have the big fireworks, or is it Scrooge that had the big fireworks?
That was always the Blunts.
Scrooge's no longer there.
Oh, one of the Blunts.
That was the Blunts that used to put on the. They still do the fireworks, but I think it's Russell Land that does the fireworks now, which they own half the lake. The Russells.
Yeah, you're right. No question about it. Of course, Cheryl Crow is my good friend and longtime buddy, and I saw him the other day, and he looks great, Mike. He really looks good, and he's a tough customer, man. I tell you, he faces adversity as well as anybody I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And,
well, his son Barry's a big-time doctor up in Auburn, Opelika area, and then his son Blake is a commercial real estate tycoon. A lot of people call Blake Crow a young Donald Trump in Birmingham.
Oh, do they really? That's quite a
I hope he doesn't have the debt that Donald Trump had at different times in his life. But sometimes in that business, you got to take on that debt.
Every rich man has gone broke once or twice.
Like, how are you not obese? That's like, man, that's like your dad owned a chicken place and a pizza place. I was like, you're the skinniest guy I know.
Yeah, but he runs every day, doesn't he?
Yeah, he works out every day at the UAB Rec Center.
Yeah. Of course, he's a fine young man, a very good friend of yours. I tell you, Bebe Crow, we lost him a few months ago, and he was quite a guy, too, and a very good friend, big outdoorsman, and Gerald Bebe Crow. And, they started with Merle, then Daryl, then Cheryl, and then Gerald. Or if you want to do it this way, Gerald, Cheryl, Daryl, and Merle.
Well, if they would have had another child, what would they have named him or her?
I don't know. But they were a great family, lived up on right there on Fairview Street. Mike, I named those guys the other day.
They didn't have a good view growing up, just a fair view.
Yeah. Let me see how quick I can remember these. The other day, I remember them pretty quick. But on Fairview Street, these are guys that are still living pretty much and active, not just in our community, but other communities. It would start with Mickey Fields. He lives in Virginia. Let's see. Gail Phelps is still going. She'll be here this weekend. And Jimmy Green, he and his daddy used to make good barbecue. Floyd Ledbetter, Margaret Ledbetter, Donna Sue Crawford. Let's see, Billy Qualls. Of course, his sister's still living in Troy. Of course, Cheryl Crow and Daryl, and then of course Merle and Gerald grew up in Troy, and Jimmy Williams played football at Alabama. He'll be here this weekend, and he's got a sister, Mary Jean, the great.
I've never heard of Jimmy Williams. What years did he play at Alabama?
He finished school in 59. He finished school in high school in 59. And he played at Alabama in 60. Oh, excuse me, 59 football season. He played football in Troy in 58, graduated in 59, played at Alabama in 59 for 1 year. And then, you know what he became? and you ought to get out and talk to him about it this weekend. He's a great guy. His whole family comes down to the big Bob party we're having. But he was he actually went around with the president's little daughter, and guarded her.
Really?
That's right. He was with the what's the
Secret Service.
Secret Service for years. He was with Secret Service, and I know that he guarded our president from Georgia.
Jimmy Carter.
Jimmy Carter.
How about that? That's he can
daughter.
Tell the
he
story.
guarded
Amy.
Yeah, Amy. I want to say Amy, and of course I think later on he guarded one of the.
Speaking of president's daughters, I read that Chelsea Clinton just had her third child.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's great. Well, I think there was just one Clinton girl, wasn't it?
Yeah, she was the only child.
But Jimmy Williams, where was you call it? What did you call it? The group.
Secret Service.
Secret Service. Okay, Secret Service, and did that for a long time. You know, we also have a guy here that lives in town that used to fly the president around. The Faircloth guy.
Well, he was Major Faircloth. I bet he's Colonel Faircloth now.
I don't know. He's retired now, and
he is.
And I think he
flew. He was the pilot of the Marine One, the helicopter that ferried the president from the White House to Camp David and other places during the Clinton presidency. He was in the news one time. They were killing time after they had got to Camp David and got the president and his family up there, and they were out playing with the Clintons' dogs, playing frisbee or throwing a ball, and one of the Clintons' new dogs, trying to bite the frisbee or the ball, accidentally bit Major Faircloth.
Oh no!
So he got a little attention in the press for that.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Of course, John Faircloth is daddy and a good friend of mine, and he played football at Troy. He wasn't big, but he was tough.
Well, he looks like a football player.
He was a tough guy. And of course, his son is an outstanding player for Pike Liberal Arts. And of course, football season's about to come around the corner, and I saw one of the coaches this morning heading up the hill to Pike Liberal Arts about 6:30. So their morning workouts are pretty early. What do you think?
If I was thinking back when I played football before my knee injuries that these were the days where you really had to get serious about getting in shape. So I remember getting up early, and I hated it, but jogging 2 miles, or if I could make myself go 3 miles.
We used to have to practice early. It was a big thing on August the 1st. We always had to practice. I can smell that freshly cut grass or that morning dew. And you can smell the locker rooms. It had a distinct smell about it.
I mean, the worst thing about it was two-a-days. I mean, do they even do that anymore?
No, they don't do it. They don't do it anymore because, well, I say that.
So you played for Jeff Code. Jeff Code had something for us, Bill, called Hurt and Hustle that we had to do at the end of the practice, like where literally everybody was just laying on the ground, like crying. They were so just out of it.
Y'all were hurting.
Did y'all do anything called a Hurt and Hustle?
We ran sprints at the end of the practice and stop and goes, but he didn't have a slogan like Hurt and Hustle for it.
It was absolutely brutal. I mean, it would be 95 degrees and guys just laying on the ground for several minutes after practice.
I tell you, the worst drill, and hopefully they've taken it away, is for the one player to be on his knees, and then the other player explodes into him without anything behind this guy or anything.
It's called a 6-point explosion.
Well, I tell you what, it's the worst, one of the worst drills in football, and they ought to put somebody in jail. They ought to put a coach in jail that makes somebody do that. I mean, just like that. I mean, you can't do something. The only thing that could happen is to hurt somebody real bad.
The only thing that happens bad. Yeah, I agree with you.
You're on your knees, and basically the guy is in a stance, and basically hits you straight in the head.
That's right.
That's how we started practice every day.
And think how good that'd do for your back. You reckon? To be hit.
How good it'd do for your head.
Yeah. Well,
I think at Alabama, and I'm sure it's the case of a lot of schools, Now when they do drills and they tackle people to the ground, they have mattresses and pads underneath them.
Well, I'll tell you this, back when I played, we did the heads up. Everybody hit heads up, you know, you break down and do the heads up. All right, one guy would be standing 10 yards away, and he would just say, here you go, just come get me. And that guy would run as hard as he can and stick his head right there. The other guy didn't have any reaction at all.
Pick you up.
And then slam your head or your back into the ground, and it was another thing that you just hated to see. And thank goodness they did away with that heads-up tackle and those suicide. It was a suicide hit like that, you know.
Coach Sanders introduced everybody to the door drill. We had that huge black door where the guy would run the ball, and then you'd be the tackler, and you didn't know which side of the door he was coming out of, and that was a brutal drill, too.
Yeah, it was. And then another one is called the plank drill, which I think is a very good drill, you know, as far as setting up your base, blocking, and all that. I think that's good one-on-one drill there. That both guys are hitting each other at the same time. The drills I don't like is the ones that's just one way, you know, just one way, one guy hitting, you know. And then, of course, Coach, can I have some water? Sure, go get some. That when I was playing, you grab a towel and start, it might have a little water in it, and you squeeze that water out. No telling what kind of...
Now they don't even have to go get it. They've got trainers that have got water bottles out there all around all the players.
They want you to drink water now because...
Charles Anderson will have a new practice field for the first time in how many years? 30 years?
A long time since the bottom field was there. It was there when I was there. And
y'all didn't practice on that bottom field?
We practiced on the bottom field.
I know you did. I did too.
Michael did too.
Yeah, everybody did.
Oh, okay.
There was no shade.
Yeah, that was... You had to walk down the steps by the right field line of the baseball field, and up them was the tough one after practice.
And everybody be on the top of that bank, and a lot of guys that, you know, chiseled out, didn't want to play, would be sitting up there laughing at us, you know, in 100-degree weather. They'd be up on top of the hill. And a couple of those guys decided to come back down the hill and play because it made them feel bad. To be up there and us be down there, you know.
I remember the year we won the year after we won the state championship. It was amazing the number of people that came out for the football team the next year.
Yeah.
Good athletes that had never played football or hadn't played in a while.
Now
Ralph Black's son, he was in the band the year we won the state championship. He was in my class, sophomore. Arguably the best athlete in our whole class, but he was a drummer in the band.
Yeah, is that amazing?
And then after we won that state championship, Ed came out for the football team and immediately became the starting quarterback.
Yeah. Bill Jackson forward on the bypass. Congratulations, Bill Jackson.
That sounds too weird when you say that. I still can't get used to that.
They have orange, their colors are gold and blue, and of course they look awfully good today. And congratulations to Jim and his dad buying the Ford dealership.
You sell Chevrolets, the next day you sell Fords?
That's right. Well, we do them both. You either a Ford or a Chevrolet. Bill Jackson wants you.
Okay, we got them both.
No question about it.
Can Bill Rice defeat Jim Jackson and some pickets this fall?
I don't know. They might want to go head to head.
He knows his football.
Of course, I want to say good morning to my good friends at Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram on the bypass, and visited with Jason Gregory yesterday, and boy, what a great guy he is. I know this, if you go out there and you spend a little time with them, they'll give you a brand new cooler, which is awfully nice. Mm-hmm. And of course, they're great people, and they have a huge selection of cars and trucks to choose from. Of course, we appreciate
your go-to meals back in the day. When I was a little kid, you'd be like, "Oh, there's a car dealership giving away free pizza today. Let's go by there and look around." And get some
exactly. You know, when I was growing up, one of the biggest days of the year would be when the new cars came out, because all the car dealers, you know, right where First Baptist Church is on the corner there was the Ford. Right down the street was Mary Chevrolet.
My grandmother worked at Mary Chevrolet.
That's right, and that's right. I remember that. And these were big, nice car dealerships, and then around the corner was O'Neill Motors.
That's right.
Good deal, O'Neill, and then another guy that was in the car business was a guy named Roy Crow. He was the Buick dealer for a long time, and then he sold out and so forth. And but a lot of car dealers, especially, and now most of this was before the bypass now.
Right, obviously.
And then you had to go right straight through Highway 231 there. All the traffic went by there, and John McGarity owned the Ford place at one time, and then later on Phil Adams owned it.
So how many car dealerships were in Troy?
Well, we know that.
Named 4, I think.
Well, yeah, there was Chevrolet, there was Ford, there was Pontiac, Buick Pontiac, and then.
I guess you wouldn't have had.
Okay. You had a Dodge Chrysler Jeep, Genwright. Mr. Genwright owned it, and it was located right where the activities building of the First Baptist Church was, and of course. You know, a lot of car dealerships, but when the new cars would come in, they would have all kinds of, they would give you free Cokes and popcorn and stuff like that, and we all went in there to get goodies, you know.
Where were the dealerships back then? I mean, was it all downtown? I mean, was there even...
Well, as I mentioned, the Ford place, you know where the administration building is, right there on the corner of West College Street was the Ford dealership. Then right across the street, right down the street a little bit, it was the Mr. Genwright had the Dodge Chrysler Jeep dealership, and then on down to your right, less than a half a block, was Mary Chevrolet. Judson Colley and Mr. Sis Mary ran that dealership, and let's see, I've got one more left, don't I? Let's see, they were the Chevrolet dealership. And well, look, that's about it.
Ford? Did you say the Ford dealers?
Yeah, that was the Ford dealership was McGarity, and then later on Phil Adams Ford. And
so
then,
all the dealerships were clustered together like
right.
today. Today, there,
right there
any city you go into, all the same. For some reason, most of the dealerships are going to be right by each other.
Exactly right. I know this. It wasn't hard for Jim Jackson to start selling Fords because you know, just think of the competition that Ford truck and that Chevrolet truck have had against each other for so many years, you know. Mm-hmm. And it seemed like I saw yesterday or day before yesterday, I saw Jim Jackson driving a brand new F-150 loaded to the hill.
How about that?
You know, they've got them now, vehicles
now.
How
great would that be to own a car dealership? You could just pick a different car every day, couldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. No question about it. And of course, Bill and Jim Jackson have a tremendous selection of Ford cars and Chevrolet cars and trucks. And then right next door to him, you know, is Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep. Got a big selection of Dodge Chrysler Jeeps and also used cars. What?
That Dodge truck is really good looking. It's a lot better than it used to be.
Yeah, no question about it. And there are 3 real good trucks. Well, 4 really. It's some good trucks on the road. You know, no question about it.
Everybody needs a pickup. I don't have one anymore, but I miss it. Everybody needs some kind of pickup truck. Well, I guess not everybody. Yeah, if you
truck, you put about 300,000 miles on, didn't you, Dad?
Well, I've got one still that I ride about 250,000.
That's your Ford, but I'm talking about, didn't you use like a little Nissan you drove to Montgomery?
Oh, yeah. I've had a Nissan car and truck.
We bumped into Benny Pickers the other day, Bird.
Yeah, his has been around a long time.
He's got one that's got almost 500,000 miles on it.
That's right. But he has changed engines, I think, once.
He said he got to about 450,000 and he changed engines.
Exactly right. Of course, as we mentioned, quarterback Caleb Barker is getting ready for the football season. He has suffered 2 previous ACL injuries prior to being hurt last year. But he's ready to go. Pricefield High School of Decatur, the second after his seniors, number 3. Came against the Georgia State.
He was looking like an All-American.
He had close to 300 yards in total offense in the first quarter.
Yeah,
which was phenomenal.
If he can come back to that standard, wow.
Mike, you know, he might have broken a national record that day if he had been able to continue. One of them was a 94-yard run. He had a 94-yard run. He's real fast.
Even after all those knee injuries, he's still fast.
I tell you,
It's one of those things where, Troy playing Campbell the start of the season, you got to think, they'll have a week off after to get ready for Southern Miss, but you got to think that, Chip Lindsey and some of the staff is also going to have some stuff early on for Southern Miss as well. I mean, Troy should just beat Campbell by 50 points.
Well, they say they're pretty good, though. They say they got some good athletes. They're going to be sort of like Coastal Carolina might. They're going to, and another thing, you look at those teams up there like, Mike, to give us a few of them that have just started football. What's the big town up there in North Carolina?
Yeah, I mean, Charlotte
started, and they're pretty good already.
Old Dominion.
Who?
Old Dominion.
is playing Division.
Those are all Division I programs.
Yeah, I know it. And how they were able to get to be Division I so soon is something to me. That's really a great opportunity for them to.
Has anybody heard much about Southern Miss, what they got coming back, or what we expect out of them this year?
I mean, they were 6-6 last year.
Yeah, they'll be
got
good.
A pretty decent team coming back.
I think everybody at the SEC media days was talking about Missouri as a sleeper team to watch, and so Troy's got to go up there early on.
No question.
Troy will be challenged. They got to play Missouri and Southern Miss pretty early in that schedule.
Yeah. I've always said this young man at Arrington, Bryson Peavy, is an outstanding athlete. He was a great football player for him, good basketball player, good baseball player. And now he competes in the Alabama High School All-Star game tonight. That game, actually last Thursday night. Peavy played wide receiver, but didn't have a pass thrown to him. But I tell you what, he's going to Sanford, and I think to play baseball. And I hate that he got through Troy because he's a good athlete.
Here's Campbell's record the last since 2013. They were 2-6 in the conference, 3-9 overall. Then they're 5-7. 4-4 in the Pioneer Football League. Then they're 5-6, 3-5 in the conference. 5-5, 3-4 in the conference. Then they're 6-5, 5-3. And then last year they joined the Big South Conference and they were 6-5.
Gosh, how long have they been playing?
It says they've only been playing since 2013.
Yeah, well they're not so bad, no question about it. Now, Mike, I don't know if this new phone we can hold you or not. I'm gonna try to.
We got a call.
We got a call coming in. Let's put you on hold a second. Well, we were able to hold you. Good morning, you on Today in L.A. How you doing?
Hey, Mike, it's Will Matthews.
Will Matthews calling. Where you calling from? Dothan or Ozark this morning?
Well, I'm actually between Dothan and I'm in City County to court this morning.
Oh, yeah. Where to do court?
I'm going to Hartford.
Oh, okay. I got you. And, I wonder why they don't have a statue of Early Wynn in Hartford. He's one of the great pitchers of all time.
Yep.
Let me see if I can bring Mike in. If not, we'll get right back with you. Hold on a second. All right, now we got them both. We're going to go. Let's see here. They're back. Let's see. We'll try it again one more time. Well, is that it? About lost up there. Both of them. Are you on? Who's on? we lost both of them. We've got a new phone here that is not set up for.
It's a complicated process to get two people on the phone at the same time.
Yeah, I'd rather have the old phone so we can talk to more people, but hopefully they'll call right back. The first one that calls back.
You talked about the Wynn. He's in the Hall of Fame, isn't he?
Yeah, Early Wynn. Oh, yeah, he was a great pitcher. He pitched for the Cleveland Indians and the Chicago White Sox. And I think he pitched in 2 World Series, and he was a great player. And then, of course, Dixie Howell, the great football player at Alabama, later on played professional baseball, is also from Hartford, Alabama.
I read in AL.com had a story listed the players with Alabama connections that are in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, and I think there are 13.
Is it really?
You know, Don Sutton, Willie Mays,
yeah.
Hank Aaron, Willie McCovey.
That's right.
There's some great ones.
Oh, yeah, no question about it.
Frank Thomas, he's not from the state of Alabama.
Is he
but
in the Hall of Fame already?
Frank Thomas is already in the Hall of Fame. He played baseball at Auburn.
Yeah, you know, he was another one that probably could have played two sports because he would have been, you know, he was a great tight end that, you know, they didn't play a senior year at Auburn.
You think of the iconic athletes that Auburn had at school at the same time. They had Bo Jackson, Charles Barkley, and Frank Thomas all overlapping.
Yeah. Thomas is getting to be a sex symbol. You know, it's that, you know, this.
I see his commercials all the time.
Yeah, the commercial. He's getting to be very well known.
The big
no question about it. Back to our season tickets, you know, you can buy a season ticket at Troy for 4 people for just $60 a season ticket. That's a pretty good deal, isn't it?
I got to get some. Yeah.
I know, it's a real good deal.
I will.
We'll bring them on our show soon and get them to talk to us about the season ticket drive. And everybody's getting ready for a huge home schedule with Campbell. And then that's on the 31st. Then on the 14th, you've got a huge game with Southern Mississippi. Good morning. How you doing?
All right, this is Will.
All right, Will, tell us what's going on, my friend.
Well, did I tell you about my cousin that is just turned 50 years old that's going on the senior tour?
No. Who is that?
His name's Doug Barron. He's from Memphis. I played golf with him the day before my birthday back in June, and we played the TPC South Winds where they're playing the PGA event this week. And he played from as far back as you could go on every tee, and he had 9 birdies and shot 8 under par.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Well, anyway, he turned 50 on Friday. Well, I said, you ought to go over to England and play in the Senior Open. And he said, well, I'll be 50. I'll do it. So he flew over to England. He had to qualify yesterday. They had 600 people qualify for 40 spots. Mike, he led the qualifying.
Did he really?
So he is in the tournament starting Thursday.
Yeah. And what's his name again? What's his name?
Doug Barron. He played at LSU.
Okay.
And he played the tour for several years coming out of college. And then he was in a real bad car accident with a drunk driver. And he was told he'd never play golf again. His shoulder was messed up. His arm was messed up. All it. Well, he went to Dr. James Andrews a couple of years ago. And Dr. Andrews told him, said, well, I can fix your shoulder, but you'll never play golf again. Well, he was out with one of his children. He's got a 16, 17-year-old boy that plays golf. And he said, just for the hell of it, I think I'm going to hit a couple. Didn't have any pain, and he started playing again. And so now he's fixing to join the senior tour Thursday in England.
How long has it been since he was on the PGA Tour?
Back in about 2003.
Oh, okay.
Gosh.
He was off a long time.
Why are we just now hearing about this guy, Will?
That's a great story.
Well, he's been playing mini tour events just to get ready, you know. And he played in one in Andalusia, Alabama.
Yeah.
Gino Serrano.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
He's won 5 of his tournaments this year. And he's 49 years old playing against these kids. Well, they had one in Andalusia about a month ago. He shot 62, 64, 66.
Oh, boy.
Sounds like he's playing the best golf of his life.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's gotten it back. I mean, you know.
Boy, ride it while you can.
Exactly, yeah.
And really, the senior tour is basically a closed shop. They've got a tour school every year. They only award 3 spots. So there'll be 1,000 people trying to get 3 spots.
Oh boy.
But if he can win one of these tournaments, like if he won this week, he'd be exempt forever. You know.
Oh boy.
Because it's a major.
But he's going to be in that tournament, and but will the tournament be televised, you think?
It's televised on Golf Channel. I've already set my PCR to take it.
Yeah, well, that's going to be good.
Well, he went and competed against 600 people to get 40 spots, so he was out that money if he didn't qualify.
Will, let me ask you a real personal question. Which side of the family is he representing?
My dad's, he's from Memphis.
All right, from Memphis. That's where your dad. That's where your dad was from.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So your dad grew up in the big city, didn't he?
He did. He did.
And ended up settling down here. He came down here in the military and met this beautiful lady who happened to be come your mama. Is that right?
That's right. Korean War brought him to Fort Rucker.
Yeah. Well, did he fly helicopters?
No, he was a JAG lawyer. He was a
he was a JAG lawyer. Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're having a great day. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
I love my job. We get to help people who are having the worst day of their life.
You just got to be ready for whatever hits.
She wasn't breathing. She was almost dead.
Stay still there. Stay still. It's fine.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Have you seen an increase in your insurance premiums or significant change in your insurance coverage? Let Sandbeck Insurance offer you a better plan to suit your business or personal needs. Sandbeck Insurance offers many lines of insurance, whether it's home, farm, or auto insurance, work comp, business, or health and life policies. Sandbeck is here for you. Call or visit our Troy, Enterprise, or Andalusia office today. Sandbeck Insurance, where we take pride in taking care of your insurance needs.
Tori Dunn from Dixie Trails. You get your truck washed here?
I sure did.
Billy Johnson. I know you're not bringing them cow trucks, okay?
I do. They're like me when I leave.
Loretta, what are you doing?
Getting my car detailed.
At Trojan Detail, we do it all.
Now, I guarantee you, because I go to the Biloxi tournament every year. My daughter gets
All right, yeah, back to our show. Will Matthews is on the line.
He's talking some more about his cousin that's playing in the British Senior Open right now or this week. Go ahead, Will.
We'll go ahead and tell him what you told him. Now, he hit that spot that he was telling us about. He's driving to Hartford for a court case, and he'll probably be calling us back. We'll.
In the senior tour, though, there's been a couple of players that you had never heard of. I don't think that had ever played any tour, and they just keep getting good at golf, and they decide, when they're 48, 49 years old, I can play with these guys. So you have people that actually have never played on the PGA that go out and competed with Jack Nicklaus
and
or something.
Something else, they probably don't have as much pressure on them because they've already made a living. You know what I'm saying? They've already established a good life, and don't have the real pressure to make a living like a
Didn't Paul Hudson give it a go to try to get on the senior tour?
I don't know, but Paul Hudson was really good, and of course, we'll be coming back on today. Of course,
I think I'm going to try to get on the senior tour.
Want to remind you that the big date to remember is August the 8th, the Troy City Schools, and also Pike Liberal Arts, I think, open their doors for the school year. So, gosh, we're just looking at 2 weeks and school's back.
And teachers report a week before that. So.
You sort of like that in a way. Your kids start going to school. Is that right?
That is free daycare for.
But now I think the teachers, like your wife, will have to come in earlier than that.
A week earlier, yeah. I don't know what they do that whole week, but I guess lesson plans and getting their room ready and staff meetings.
Bill Rice Jr., of course, is the son of Bill Rice Sr. that played football for Coach Paul Bryant back in the early 60s, played on the national championship team, and a good friend of ours, and was sort of like the city of Troy's historian. He wrote books and kept Troy people up with the history of Pike County. And Troy, did you get into that?
Yeah, some of it rubbed off on me. I'm not near the authority on the local history that Dad was, but because of his work and all the conversations I overheard, I know a fair amount. Now, really the county historian was Margaret Pace Farmer.
Yeah.
And so a lot of Dad's research was came from Miss Farmer's previous work. But it's important for a town to have a historian because, what happens 20 or 30 or 40 years from now when you want to tell the history from Dad's book to 2040 if there's nobody interested in keeping up with it.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right.
I missed the passing of Mary Ann Neely in Montgomery. She became a good friend of mine. And she was the town historian of Montgomery. And, she was in her 80s, and she was giving cemetery tours every week. And such a delightful lady, but she educated so many people on the important history of Montgomery. She really did the same thing that Dad did and Margaret Pace Farmer did.
Well, Troy people have done well in Montgomery and are part of history. Of course, one of them is Emery Farmer, born and raised over here on West College Street. And then another one was the great one,
Bubba Trotman.
Bubba Trotman.
Yeah.
See, they were born and raised right down the street from us here. And then another one that was pretty well known in Montgomery was Charles Henderson, the governor. He lived on West College Street, and it's quite historic, isn't it?
Montgomery is
and then
full
Jim O'Neill, my good buddy Jim O'Neill, is probably the best one that's ever lived on West College. Good morning. How you doing?
Good service now.
Okay, got a little service now between Hartford and Dothan this morning. Will Matthews is on the line, and you're going to the home of Early Win, and I don't believe they have any kind of sign or anything outside the town saying, welcome to Hartford, the home of the Hall of Famer Early Win.
I've never seen anything.
And I'd be proud of that, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah.
And I'll tell you another one, and I mentioned it to the crowd, the thousands and maybe the millions of people watching our show today, is that one of the great athletes in University of Alabama football history was also from Hartford. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I have no idea.
Well, he played quarterback. His name was Dixie Howell. You ever heard of Dixie Howell?
Oh yeah, that's from way back.
Well, he was from Hartford, Alabama, and he raised on all that good corn down there. If I had to name a town that was the corn capital of the world in Alabama, I'd say Hartford. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you think that's where the Hartford and Sampson?
Mm-hmm. Tom Bryan that played quarterback at Auburn.
That's right. He's from Hartford. And good friend of mine. He's a great guy.
Who are some of the great athletes that have come out of Ozark, Will? Football.
Well, you got Wilbur Jackson. Then you get Ellis Peck and Dexter Wood, Joe Kelly.
Danny Grant. Hey, well, the great one, Mickey Andrews and Billy Knowles. You ever heard of them, Billy Knowles and Mickey Andrews?
Yeah, they were when I was just a baby.
Yeah, they were. I remember watching them play. They were both great. Billy Knowles went on to Georgia. And, of course, Andrews went to Alabama and became a good football player there. And later on became a very good football coach and was a long-time defensive coordinator at Florida State. You remember that?
That's right. That's right.
Y'all watch these documentaries on ESPN, these 30 for 30s, or the SEC Network has some too. I think it'd be a great documentary feature story on Wilbur Jackson. You know, he was the first African-American athlete that signed a scholarship at the University of Alabama. And not only that, he became a great player.
Yeah, and he's a great man to go with it. Isn't that right, Will?
Yeah, I've been his lawyer for 35 years, and I'm going to tell you something. He is the epitome. Well, he's only been back in Tuscaloosa one time since he graduated.
Wow.
One time. And
why is that? I wonder.
They ought to honor him. You know, they ought to honor him some way. But he's got a record that will never be touched in Alabama. He averaged 8.5 yards per carry in Alabama.
Amazing.
Oh,
no,
boy.
That'll never be touched.
You know, a guy that came around the same time. Let's see what kind of Alabama football guys y'all are. He came around about the same time. He was from Bruton. Y'all know who I'm talking about?
Walter Lewis?
No, well, Walter Lewis was from Bruton. But this guy, Lewis, went to T.R. Miller. This guy went to W.S. Neal. His name was Calvin Culliver. You ever heard that name? You ever heard it, Will? He was a great player, too.
He was a great wishbone back.
Yeah, and of course, you had Calvin Culliver out of Bruton, and then, of course, Wilbur Jackson out of Ozark.
There used to be a lot of players from Alabama and Auburn that played from the Wiregrass.
Well, Ozark, and they brag about it all the time and should do it. They should do it because at one time in their Alabama starting lineup, they had a split end, Dexter Wood from Carroll Ozark. And then at fullback, they had Ellis Beck from Ozark. And then the running back, he wore number 81. He didn't wear number 80. Was Wilbur Jackson.
Who I think
and in Alabama, he played tailback and he wore number 80. Is that right, Will?
Yeah, he was actually a wide receiver in high school, and Tom McClellan was his coach.
I know. He coached me. Tom McClellan coached the great Mike Amos.
Well, let me tell you how smart Coach McClellan was. Everybody, when Wilbur was a running back, everybody jammed the line and he couldn't get outside. He just made him a wide receiver, and they just throw the ball out there
and let him get one-on-one with him.
There's no way anybody could cover him.
Yeah, that's right. But he was a good one. But to have Ozark, to have three starters from the same town on that team, and Joe Kelly, well, he was there before them, but of course he was out of Skipperville. What if it was the same way now? Joe Kelly came around and he played on those great long Skipperville teams. Joe Kelly.
No,
Joe Kelly was good enough to play in the major leagues.
No, Joe Kelly played at Carroll High. Skipperville didn't have a school then.
Yeah,
I'll tell my one Wilbur Jack. I remember him. I was a little kid when he played at Alabama and remember him. But I followed him closely when he got to the NFL, and I think he was playing for the 49ers.
That's right. And he played with.
He was a halfback. It was a pass play, and some linebacker blitzed. And Wilbur Jackson laid that guy out. I have never seen a linebacker's head go backwards faster than Wilbur Jackson hit him. And I always remember the announcers really picked up on it, too.
I'll tell you how close we are from home. Wilbur Jackson played for San Francisco, and there was another great one out of Daleville that played for the 49ers. Y'all know who?
Daleville played for the 49ers.
Played with the 49ers for 15 years.
Larry Roberts played for the 49ers from Dothan.
That's right, he sure did. But this was a running back, and he played in the NFL for 15 years.
That's a long time for a running back.
He played out of Auburn. You know who we're talking about, Will?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Oh, gosh.
What's that guy's name, man? I know he was real good.
He played at Auburn for 15 years and was
played in the NFL for that long.
That's right, excuse me, played in the NFL for 15 years.
Somebody will call in and tell us.
He was one of those great ones at Auburn.
He was kind of like William Andrews, though. He didn't carry the ball a lot. Didn't carry the ball a lot in the NFL either.
Well, let me tell you this: Andrews ran it a lot in the pros. Now he was a horse. Gosh, he was a horse. And the Atlanta had Andrews, and
he blew out his knee, or he would have had 3 or 4 more great years.
But of course, Auburn had Andrews and Cribbs and
Brooks.
Brooks, boy, in the same backfield.
Brooks played forever in the NFL.
Yeah, he did. He did. He played for Cincinnati for a long time, and so forth. But what's the name of that great running back? Gosh, that played 15 years in the NFL.
I have no idea.
Oh shoot! He played at Daleville High School.
I'll look it up when we get off.
Hey, what is the worst thing that Daleville High School? Will, do you know something very special about Daleville High School? Their fight song goes like this: War Eagle, the Daleville Warhawks getting ready for the 2019 football season in Daleville, Alabama. If you don't watch it, they'll be hit by a helicopter because it's Helicopter USA in downtown Daleville, Alabama. So the Daleville Warhawk fight song is the same as Auburn's.
Auburn's got some good rhythm there.
What do you think about it, Will? Will, why can't you be an Auburn fan, Will? Why can't you, man?
Well, Carroll High's always had.
They've used to have a Hey All Ye Eagles.
But they were Alabama colors.
Yeah.
Would you consider Ozark and Auburn or an Alabama town or about 50-50?
Yeah.
What would you say? Good. Will is over in Hartford this morning. You know, that's a beautiful bank there in Hartford, Will. Are you familiar with it?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
How old is that bank, you reckon?
I have no idea.
But it's right there on the square in downtown
There's an
Hartford.
old bank that's on our screen right now.
Exactly. What was that? Yeah, exactly. Troy Bank and Trust Company. Remember, they're the only bank you'll ever need. Of course, also Sisters for lunch today. No better. Listen, Paula Dean just wishes she had the food that Sisters has got, Will. Sisters is the best, well-cooked country food you'll find anywhere.
Hey, guys, hang on a second.
Okay, Will's having trouble. Mike Amos waiting for him to call back in.
I wonder if many people from Ozark drive up to Sisters. It's not that far.
I imagine they are some. Of course, some good friends of mine down there. And, of course, I'll see Jack Jackson this weekend. And the greatest dancer of them all, guys that I know, is a guy named Cy Lisenby. Is the great bopper from Ozark. And Cy, if you're watching this morning, we're looking forward to seeing you this weekend. And his sister Beverly, a good friend of mine. And, hey, Mike Bearfield at the great Bearfield's department store.
Stephen Davis.
He loved it.
Running back, Stephen Davis.
Stephen Davis was running back at Auburn, but he was from Spartanburg, wasn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
He was good. One of the great running backs.
That's right.
This guy wasn't as well known as Stephen Davis, but he just had a long career.
Now, you grew up in Destin, Fort Walton. Who's your favorite football team?
Auburn.
Auburn. Are you serious? For crying out loud, are you serious? You mean all these years I find out today that you're an Auburn fan?
I'm an SEC fan.
You know, my little brother lived in Pensacola for a long time, and he tells me there's just a ton of Alabama and Auburn fans down there in the panhandle of Florida.
Who was a long-time Auburn guy that played for the San Francisco, played fullback?
There's a lot of FSU fans.
Oh, a long-time Auburn fan from Daleville, Alabama. But, yeah, played at San Francisco for, gosh, I want to say he played 15 years for San Francisco.
Emmett Smith was from Pensacola. Well, Max Howell coached Emmett Smith.
That's right. Emmett Smith's a great guy, no question about it. And
I would say Emmett Smith in Troy a lot. Do you remember that? He must have had a girlfriend or something.
He did. No question. No, not Cadillac Williams. Cadillac was a lot younger. Cadillac Williams came out of Gadsden, I think, didn't he? Isn't that right, where he came from?
Go Crazy Cadillac. That was one of Rod Bramlett's famous calls.
Was it really?
Yeah.
And,
that's what Alabama fans hate to hear it, but you know the Auburn fans just love it.
What they're going to hear all these, I love to listen to that. I don't really like listening to it, but in that commentary, it starts off just very routine. He's going to run it back. He's going to run it back. He's to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. He's going to run it back. He's to the 40. He's going to run it back to the 45, 40, 50, across midfield. Wait a minute. He's breaking into the clear. He's breaking into the clear. Auburn's going to score a touchdown. Auburn is going to score a touchdown. Auburn is going to score a touchdown. Auburn's going to score a touchdown. And all hell is breaking loose. Everybody in the stands are coming down from their seats. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn is going to win the football game. They have run this field goal back 108 yards. And the Auburn Tigers, you even got to have chill bumps down your back, are going to win the football game, and 100,000 people come storming down to the field.
I didn't see that because you know what I did?
If you can't be an Auburn fan after that, what do they have to do?
Don't you know that every Alabama fan immediately clicked off their TV, ran outside, kicked the dog?
Boy, don't you know it made them sick. But you know what happened?
For one second, I thought, well, maybe he stepped out of bounds, and then I saw that they weren't even looking at that.
I don't know how fast.
I ran from the TV as fast as I could.
I don't know how fast Bill Rice is, but I do know how fast Steve is in the booth here. He could outrun every one of them because, ladies and gentlemen, on the field at the time, there was one athlete. And I think that was the guy that was holding for the kicker. The rest of them were big old fat linemen that were protecting for the kick and everything. And when this guy gets in and starts running back, there's nobody fast enough to catch the guy. There was one guy that holder of the kicker had one dive and couldn't latch on. And then when he broke across 50, oh man, wait a minute, they're going to score. He's going to go for a touchdown. Auburn is going to win the football game. Auburn is going to win the football game, and that's what happened.
You know what I would have...
Worst loss in it. I don't know if it was worse than punt, though. I was there in that game.
That's true.
He blocked it. He blocked it. Auburn has blocked it for the second consecutive time, and it jumps up in the Langer's lap, and Langer goes for a touchdown, and it was almost like two identical plays.
Well, the stakes are almost... When Alabama was undefeated in the punt block game, that ruined the season.
That's right.
The kick six game, Alabama was undefeated. That ruined the season. Probably cost Alabama 2 national championships.
Final score was 17-16, and Alabama just dominated the game. They dominated the game throughout. I was sitting there and watching, and I said, well, we'll be going home until they had to. But the problem is that Alabama's kicker took 2 steps. The snap was okay, but he took 2 steps to kick it, and they blocked both of them.
You know, the other thing is Alabama missed an extra point or had an extra point blocked in that game.
That's right. That's exactly right. Already been tied. And the game
Alabama could have taken a knee or gone for it on 4th down both those times. And what are the odds that Auburn could have driven in and scored 2 touchdowns?
That's right. Not very good at the time. Randy Walls from Brundage, Alabama was the quarterback for Auburn. Did you know that? Yeah, he was the quarterback.
In that 17-16 game?
Yeah, that's right. And the running back was, the bragged all the time, was from Gadsden. What was his name?
Yeah, what was his name?
He had a brother that played too.
Well, you know, you talk about Gant taking those extra steps he did, but boy, it looked like the whole Auburn team was in there both times.
And you know where the guy was that blocked the kick? You know where his home was? Fayette, Alabama. He was from Fayette, the guy that blocked the kick.
You know, another game.
Langner, the defensive back that picked it up, another thing. The ball bounced right in his hands. You know, I mean, I could have scored on this thing because he runs through there and the ball bounced right.
Bill Newton was the guy that blocked.
Bill Newton, you're exactly right. We're gonna be able to get both of you in here. I think. Hold on a second here. Let's see if we can get you, Will. Just hold on 1 second. We're going to put you on hold. And now we got both of you on hold. And now we're going to go see what we can do right here. We're going to go 1.
Well, that person dropped off number 2.
Oh, wait a minute. 2 dropped off.
Yeah, so go back to 1.
Will. All right, Will, we got you back on now.
I'm here.
All right, Will Matthews just missed out on Mike Amos. He sort of dropped out on us.
17-16 punt, Bama punt. I've never really thought about it, but you talk about the heartbreak for Alabama. It's just they're equal. How could you say that one is greater on the kick six or the punt, Bama punt? Because Alabama was perfect going into both games. Really, Alabama had the 17-16 game won. You couldn't say that they had the kick six game won. They probably would have lost in overtime. So that's really why. That's what something I always think about is, you know, even if that game went into overtime, Auburn had the momentum.
Will, you will love this. So you weren't on the air, but I just recalled
the kick six call.
The kick
Bramlett.
six, Bramlett. You know, Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn is going to win the football game. Will, how did that make you feel?
I don't like hearing that at all.
I know it. You would have liked it. And then we were playing the Auburn fight song, Will.
I was at that game, Mike, and I left with about 3 minutes to go.
Oh, boy.
Why'd you leave?
Well, Alabama was ahead by 7.
That's right.
They were on the 10-yard line of Auburn. I said, well, they're going to kick a field goal, win the game. Let's go, because I had to drive back to Dothan that night. And so anyway, I'm listening to it on the radio. And, you know, Auburn, people forget, Auburn drove the length of the field in less than 2 minutes. And they had a illegal pass on a touchdown to make, you know, the guy was beyond the line of scrimmage when he threw it.
Yeah.
So back then they did not have the replay, did not kick in on that, and you know, now you can challenge a play now. But anyway, Auburn scored to tie the game, and then Alabama had the ball with like 10 seconds to go and threw a long pass. And the guy catches the ball and runs out of bounds, the clock runs out.
Yeah,
so everybody thinks it's the game is going to overtime, and then Saban said, no, there ought to be 1 second. So they put 1 second on the clock, and they tried a 58-yard field goal with a freshman who'd never kicked a field goal.
Well, they won. The veteran kicker didn't try to kick that.
No, they brought in the freshman,
No, they used a freshman.
Why did they do that? That was crazy.
Must thought he had a bigger leg.
Yeah.
In hindsight, they should have let A.J. McCarron drop back, throw the ball as high as he can to the end zone to a group of 4 receivers, and it'd be a jump ball.
Yeah.
And your chance of completing that from 33 yards are far better than the chances of a freshman field goal kicker hitting one from 58 yards.
That's right.
Give me and then all Malzahn had to say was, give me a second. Just give me a second.
And then what else? A sharp Alabama assistant should have seen Auburn put that returner back by the end zone, and he should have said, whoa, hold on a second here. Timeout. And at least told all those guys on the field goal team, as soon as this ball is kicked, go into tackle mode.
Right. They didn't have any players, any athletes in it. The only guy that was an athlete in the game, Will, was the guy that was holding.
And I think he was the punter or the back.
Yeah, that's right. Nobody had any speed. You remember there was one guy that made a lunge, and other than that, it was gone. And Bramlett will forever be remembered. Great guy, great announcer, but he'll be remembered more for that than any other thing. That was a.
And Chris Davis, when Chris Davis ran that back, he was untouched. Nobody touched.
Oh, I know it.
Yeah, it was easy.
And all, you know, the coach that said, let's put somebody. Said Coach Malzahn, Coach, you want to put somebody back just in case? And he said, yeah, go ahead and put him back. Go ahead and do that. You know, they were getting ready to go overtime. And isn't that right?
That was Hugh Fountain's brother.
Hugh Fountain, the coach here. And he also
he won the kick six game by doing that.
That's right.
And probably cost Alabama another national championship.
And
Jacobs.
What?
Brandon Jacobs.
He was a great running back. But that's not who we're talking about. We're still trying to get the long-time NFL running back from Daleville.
Yeah, from Daleville. We ought to know that, Will.
But he gave us
I don't know it. He must have been that good.
Yeah, he was too. He played in the NFL for 15 years.
I think he played for Kansas City. He was.
Yeah, he played for Kansas City.
He was
for
All-Pro. Yeah, I think he was a great blocking fullback. Is what.
But Auburn with the kick, Bama kick, and then with the big pick six. You know, those two will go down. I'll tell you another one.
And then the other one that Auburn, wins in the last second is when Alabama has Auburn beat in Auburn, and they throw the little screen pass to the running back, and he fumbles.
That's exactly right. Debo's with the coach, and I was working the camera. I was on the sidelines, and everybody had all moved over to the Alabama side because the game was going to be over. But he throws that crazy pass and he fumbles.
You know, the only comparable game I can think of, Tony Richardson. Hey, thank you, Steve Camp.
Yes, sir.
He found it.
And, you know,
we're sorry, Tony, but you were a great player.
All-time great. I'm sure a lot of folks know, Tony Richardson, you dumb guy, you dumb Alabama guy. Tony Richardson.
It was on the tip of my tongue.
Hey, Auburn's going to win the game. Hey, Auburn's going to win the game. No, what he said. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win. How you like that, Will?
You know, you think these games are over and you've got them won. The one that might be even worse than the kick sick or the punt Bama punt was Michigan State, when Michigan had the game won. They can down the ball, but with like 8 seconds left. But for some reason, they try to punt.
Yeah, that's right.
The punter drops the ball, and then he throws it to a Michigan State player who runs it back with no time left on the clock.
That was a huge game, too. I will tell you this. If they'd had the camera, Will, are you on?
Yeah.
All right, if they had the camera, when Alabama, our great field goal kicker kicked the 55-yard field goal to beat Auburn, what's his name?
Van Tiffen.
Van Tiffen. When he did that, he didn't get out of bounds, Will. You know, they threw a pass, and his knee hit out of bounds about a yard out, and it wouldn't even got that far. But they didn't have a camera, and the official ruled on it.
That's right.
And ruled that
that was Greg
you
Richardson.
Remember that? Do you remember that?
Mike Shula threw it to Greg Richardson in the crossing route, and he was racing to the sideline, and it was iffy whether he was going to make it.
That's right.
I don't know if he was or not. I'll take your word for it. It was a close play.
And I was there when Stabler ran in the most ungodly weather in the world, and old Stabler runs 49 yards for a touchdown, and Alabama wins that game. And I was right before I married my wife, and that was 49 years ago.
Can I name another weather game I was at as a student at Alabama? In the early 80s, there was a great game when Walter Lewis, I think, was a senior.
Yeah.
Back and forth between Alabama and Auburn, like it always was back in those days. And Auburn just scored and took the lead, and then the bottom falls out. There's a tornado warning.
I remember
now
that.
they stopped the games when this happened, but they played through it in lightning and 40-mile-an-hour winds, a deluge. You know, Alabama had a whole fourth quarter to come back and score and take the lead, but there was no way you could move the ball in that weather. And Auburn ended up winning that game.
The worst thing that's ever happened, and I'll ask y'all this question, y'all might not remember it, but was when Alabama lost to Penn State at Penn State, and very plainly they came way back from behind, and Alabama scored a touchdown, and the deep official comes running in and calls it no good, said he was out of the end zone, which was crazy. Any replay would have said he caught it, any replay, and Alabama would have come back to beat Penn State.
Great comeback.
But the guy that, the official, it turned out, was the uncle of Gooman, the big running back for Penn State, and he made the call.
You know, that's the game I remember. That's when they started playing Kerry Good a lot in that game. And I think he rushed for 100 yards as a freshman. And I've made the point before that, if Kerry Good hadn't have got hurt, he would have had maybe the same rushing yardage and career as Bo Jackson, and they were about the same class.
All right, remember the run against Boston College. Where were you, Will, when they played Boston College? Good runs the opening kickoff back 100 yards for a touchdown. And that little guy for Boston College brings it back and beats Alabama.
I was at that game, and I remember watching Alabama.
And you almost had to start rooting for the little guy from Boston College.
After Kerry Good got hurt in the third quarter, that was curtains for Alabama.
That's right.
Alabama would have had to outscore Boston College. But I remember watching Alabama's defensive line in the fourth quarter, and they were just gassed, chasing Flutie around the whole game.
Flutie was a great player, and You know, the top highlight Will, in college football would have to be that long pass of I want to say it was 60 yards in the air.
64 or 5 yards in the air.
And the wide receiver, everybody was in the end zone, and that one wide receiver was just a step behind all of them, and the ball just fell in his lap.
They must not have thought Flutie could
that
throw
was
it
one
far.
of the great plays, one of the great highlights of all of college football history. Wouldn't you say, Will?
Yeah, they beat Miami, who I hate.
Yeah, no.
I would say it's the Stanford Cal game where the band came on the field.
Oh, that was unreal.
The Flutie Hail Mary pass, and now the kick six. I mean, those are the three iconic
you're right.
endings playing.
And then the punt, Bama punt. The kick is blocked. The kick is blocked. Alabama fans don't want to hear that, do they?
That game wasn't even on TV. It was on. I listened to it on the radio as a 7-year-old
Musso, Johnny Musso. Do you remember Johnny Musso? Were you any y'all old enough to remember the great Johnny Musso, number 22?
He was my favorite player when I was in first grade.
And what was unique about Musso and Alabama running backs at that time?
I had tearaway jerseys?
Exactly. They were playing with those tearaway jerseys. You grab them and they just run through them. And it's just like playing football in your T-shirt.
Let me tell you about Johnny
Musso. And they just rip it off and go for a touchdown.
He was my favorite player. We lived living in Fort Myers when I was in first grade, right near Miami. And Alabama played Miami in the Orange Bowl, Musso's junior or senior year. Dad took all the kids to the game. This would have only been about 10 years after Dad played. And after the game, we go on the field, and he takes us to the locker room. And a lot of coaches still knew who Dad was, so they let us in the locker room. And I got to talk to Johnny Musso, and he gave me his chin strap.
Oh, man.
And
do you still have it today?
I had it my whole life, and then one time I came home from college and looked at all my little prized possessions, and Mom had thrown them all away.
Oh, gosh. About like my baseball cards.
Yeah.
So this is fun discussion, and we can do this every day, bring back memories, and there's been some great ones. I was there when Namath was stopped at the 1 foot line against Texas, Tommy Novus, and on the way out, all I could hear, and it was roaring too, the eyes of Texas are upon you.
You know the play I remember being at the game. Every time I go to a big game, Alabama loses, so I don't go anymore. But I was at the Cam senior year when he came, the Cam back, when he came to Tuscaloosa and brought Auburn back, when Alabama was dominating early in the game. We were sitting in the corner on about the 5 or 10 yard line near the end zone when Mark Ingram caught a screen pass and started running. Auburn guy tackles him, and you remember he fumbled it forward, and the ball went about 20 yards, and it was just hanging on the sideline. How that ball did not go out of bounds.
I know it.
And Auburn recovered it, and if that ball goes out of bounds,
exactly.
Alabama probably scores another touchdown or field goal and wins that game.
No question about it. It was some real memories, no question about it. And we're going to talk about those memories. Of course, football season just around the corner. Troy reports on the 1st of August and starts on the 2nd. So, hey, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope everybody is enjoying it. You folks that are interested in rock and roll, we've got the wonderful reunion 2019 this weekend at the Troy Country Club. You former Trojans from 53 all the way to 73, we'd love to have you and enjoy that. Of course, Rice is welcome. Rice is going to go be my handyman, I hope, and we'll have a great time.
Well, I bet if I win, I would have about 400 people that could teach me how to bop or try to.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, exactly right. Now, I'm sure your dad, over the years, and Mom and Dad, I know they bopped. And one thing about bopping is sort of very similar to what you've heard Coach Bryant say. When he saw Wilbur Jackson, he said, I like him, and said the same way about our buddy from Bruton, Calvin Culliver. He said they run with their feet close to the ground. Well, the bop is you bop with your feet close to the ground. It's a shuffle. It's best to have slick leather-soled shoes so you can keep them on the ground.
I love watching it.
And of course, the music is outstanding, and we appreciate all the folks.
It must have been a requirement in Troy that everybody knows how to
Well, see, they had the teenage canteen, which was up over Cinco Drugs, and that's where the canteen was for so many years. When your daddy and Tom Murphy and all them were there, that was a real canteen. Kenny Davis and one of my all-time favorites, Bobby Howard. All were
what a
very
beloved
good.
place for people of that era.
No question.
Yeah.
Then later on, we moved down to the old Buick place, and the canteen was upstairs there.
When I was in high school, we had a couple of game rooms. So there would be, for 8 months or a year, there would be one real popular game room where you'd go hang out.
And you wore peg pants and you wore tennis shoes. Peg pants, and also you pegged your sleeves. They would peg your sleeves like that. So the peg pants, tennis shoes was the cool thing to do. See you tomorrow, bright and early, today in L.A. We'll come back at 1:30. Hopefully you'll watch us.